Hi guys, it's Christy. Happy Monday. Tonight is the night we are kicking off our flowers theme for the month. Now we're not just going to be making flowers all through the month, but we are going to do a few different versions. So tonight we're going to start with our fabric flowers, since yesterday I was working with our fabrics and I already kind of had them out and I was playing with them a little bit today. So this is what we're going to be making this evening. I already made a few that look a little different. I especially love this one, is pretty darling here. And then we're going to, at the end, we'll do a vase for like all of them, or we'll go over different things that you can put them in. For tonight though, I just kind of put them in this little can just so they can kind of sit so you guys can see what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over on this side. Hi, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I hope everybody had a good Monday. I know Monday usually hits us like a ton of bricks, but that's okay. I know I'm really late coming on, you guys. We were at the grocery store and I had something kind of come up that was sort of emergency, so I had to jump on here a little bit later than normal, than what I planned. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. Rob is making breakfast for dinner tonight, so it's probably going to be ready soon, so I definitely don't want to miss out on that. All right, so we're just going to do a couple different versions of our flowers tonight. If you guys have done these before, great. If you have any tips or tricks, please share them. I've made these in the past as well, so I kind of know how it goes. But we're just going to have fun and create a couple of flowers tonight. Hi, whoever's jumping on, go ahead and say hello, and I will try to keep an eye on my camera. Hello. Right as I said hello, I got your hello, Sharon. Sharon, I'm so sorry you're not at work again. I know I drove by and was going to wave at you, but you weren't there. Okay, so I picked out, we have a couple different versions. These are kind of like the red, white, and blue ones, which we'll do more of these later. This one was really cute with a matching button. I just kind of picked out some vibrant colors and things. So the first thing we're going to do now, you can sew this if you want, but tonight I'm using hot glue. You don't have to necessarily use hot glue either. You can use tacky glue. Just have to let it dry before you do so. Or you could sew it, but we're just going to do the glue tonight. So what I did was I took a strip of fabric. Now to cut this, you can use your cutting mat and your rotary tool. If you want like kind of a straight edge, you probably want to try to make this as straight as possible. I always tell you guys not so, you don't have to be perfect, but you do want to try to make it as straight as possible. That way you have a pretty rounded off flower. So that's what we're going to do. So basically we're going to take that strip of fabric and we're going to cut it in half. We are going to then glue the bottom part all the way across. Just a light little hot glue, because all we're going to do, we don't need a real big chunk of it, just enough to kind of hold it together. And I went all the way up on that side. And then we're going to fold it in place. And like I said, try to make it as straight as possible. I think tonight I'm going to use my finger savers, guys. And you can do this with kids, and you can get them the finger savers. Just make sure that they stay on their little fingers, because they need to make some little kid ones. I just kind of thought of that. Sorry if I'm off tonight, guys. I've had a crazy day. Who else had a crazy Monday? Usually Mondays are, not likable. Not likable. We can change that though. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my other pieces. This one I'm going to kind of make a 2-layer since it's not as long. Hi Sharon, have you ever made these before? Has anyone ever made these before? All right, so we're going to glue on the end just like we did the other one. I'm running out of hot glue. It's time for a new some more glue sticks. I'm running out of glue sticks. I hope I have enough for the week for you all. All right, so, and then we're just gonna fold very carefully and use our finger savers and just press down so that presses on it. And do just like a flat surface. Some people iron it. You don't have to because we're going to cut into it anyway. And I'll show you in a minute how we're going to do that. All right, just glue the very edge as close as that edge as you can get it so it stays kind of in one place. Okay, and then fold. Now for this one, I have a little bit of the print showing on the print of the fabric. Hi, how are you? You have never tried this before? Okay, well, it's kind of fun. It's kind of addicting too, because you can make all different colors and themes with this. We're gonna leave this part on the inside so it's not showing on the outside of the petal. So you'll see. All right, I'm not gonna use my fabric scissors because we are gonna be cutting on the edge of this and there is some glue. So, all right, so that's how we're gonna make our petals. I'm gonna go over how we're gonna make our middle piece. So our middle piece is going to be just a little piece of cardboard. We're gonna make it round because a flower is round on the inside. And then I actually used a little bit of this felt that kind of looks natural to go on the outside. So now guys, you could use a button, you could use a jar, depending on how big you want the flower. I actually used my brain and I just kind of traced the end of my paint because that's a pretty good sized round piece. You see what I use, guys? You don't have to get out a big hunk of cardboard. You can just use, I just use a paper towel roll. So we're gonna go ahead and start. We're gonna get our pattern. And I actually put the cardboard on with the felt because it kind of gives it a little extra security. So then we're gonna cut that out. And then, there's my piece. I wanna make sure I have my pieces with me. Hi Becky, how are you? We're making flowers tonight. These are super, super easy. Just stick with me and I'll show you how we made them. If you just joined me, all I did was take strips of fabric and I just hot glued them long pieces together. And we're making the inside of them. How's your day, Becky? Thanks for joining me. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna eyeball it because it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to draw on my felt or anything. I'm just gonna hold it and I'm gonna cut out my middle piece. This is what's gonna kind of hold all of our fabric together so we can shape it. And like I said, you can use tacky glue. It's a little harder and you'll definitely have to have a lot of patience for that. Doing good. I've been pretty good. Thank you for asking. I've just been on here crafting away for you guys. So I'm good. I love to do it, so. All right, now we got our we're gonna do 2 types of flowers tonight, and then I'll show you kind of what we're making in case you guys just joined us. Okay, so what I did was I just glued just a little bit of glue here and there. Looks like I need a new glue stick. I'm running low on glue sticks. All right, and then I just put the felt piece right on top of the cardboard. That gives it a little bit more stability. See how that goes? Okay, and then I'll do the same thing for this one. Now for this one, guys, if you're just joining, I do recommend getting these little finger savers if you don't have them already, or just maybe having some kind of protectant on your hands so you don't hot glue your hands. You can technically put this on low temp. Ooh, I am throwing hot glue on me. You can technically put this on if you have a high or a low temp glue gun. I'm just using low temp. It doesn't have to be, you know, we're not doing a lot of heavy projects or anything like that. So it can definitely be low temp. It's just to kind of get the pieces to stick together. Okay, so here we have our fabric strip. We are going to make our petals from this. Now you can get fancy and you can use a chalk pen and you could actually round them off, round them off, round them off, round them off. For tonight, I'm just going to show you a basic one, and we're just going to do the little petals kind of in the square shape, like this one. I did try to get a little fancy with this one, which is why it's looking all funky. I didn't really measure it properly, but this one has kind of like a spiky. But we're just going to do regular petals, simple and easy tonight. So you can make them as big or as little as you want. This is going to be the outside of my flower, so I'm going to make these a little bit bigger. I want to say maybe about an inch or 3/4 of an inch. You don't have to, you can eyeball it, you don't have to measure it. Now what I'm going to do, you guys, or what I'm doing, if you see, I am going to go ahead and cut the top part, the part that's not glued. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys, the possibilities are going to be endless. You're going to be making flowers all the time now. And I just used my scrap fabrics that I got yesterday, or that I got Saturday when I was out. So what you want to do is you want to slit it, but don't cut it off. So you're going to go a little bit down, a little bit more than halfway down. So that's just what we're doing now. This is a great project for kids that's good with scissors. You could always do the gluing part, but this is a really fun project to do for them for Mother's Day for their grandma. I would say that would probably be the best audience for this type of project if the kids, you know, unless Dad wants to get involved and make you a little bouquet like this. So. All right, now I'm going to use this one. So remember guys, the part that's not glued at the bottom is the part we're going to cut. So I'm going to make these petals a little bit smaller. So I decided about 1/2 inch on these. And you can eyeball it. And I'll show you the effect that it kind of makes at the end when we're all done. I'm glad you like it, Becky. All right, so we're gonna make 2 different ones. We're gonna make one with like 2 layers, and then we'll make one with just 1 layer. And I've got some buttons that we can use. Now this fabric has already got flowers on it, and it's kind of like this brown with pink. It looks so vintage to me, and since vintage is really in, yes. Exactly. That's what I was just saying that, Becky. So basically vintage is really in, and if you add like a fun like pop of color, it brings it alive again. So yes, they are very cool. And what you could do with these too, you could use old placemats. I mean, you can get your fabric from anywhere. But I mean, you could use, you know, any old placemats, the old cloth napkins, things like that. You can use all of that. Hi, welcome. We're making flowers. I see more people jumping on. Say hi when you come on so I know who's here. All right. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm actually going to leave this at the back because it'll look a little bit cleaner, kind of like what I did here. So I'm going to leave the felt at the back, and I'm just going to start putting a little bit of glue on the, probably we're going to do 1/2 and 1/2 for now, because it does dry really quickly. And I'm going to put my finger savers on. And you're right, Becky, these are very good to use for like our older fabric scraps. I think the vintage flowers would look really cute. And if you have like a vintage like flower pot or something that may have belonged to one of your loved ones, that would be cool to use as well. All right, so what I'm doing, guys, is I'm kind of twisting and turning and making that shape. If you guys can kind of see, that's going to be the back. This is going to be the front. So we're going to do a few different layers. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of putting some glue and pinching it down where I want it. And that's why finger savers are kind of important to use with this project, because you don't want to put your hands down in the glue. But you kind of have to press down on these to shape it. So you guys can see what I'm doing, right? When I start doing this more often, I'll try to get some better lighting and better camera. Maybe I'll have like a camera above me or something to show. Okay, so we're just kind of shaping the flower and kind of making the outer rim. That sounds like an old movie. The outer rim, like something from the Twilight Zone. And basically I just put a little glue on the top and I just kind of twist and pinch them together and shape it. The end one's always gonna kind of look funny, but that's okay. All right, so there is our first layer. See how that's coming along, guys? Whoop. Obviously you want to trim off your strings. There's our first layer. I don't know about you, but like I swear I saw a shirt with the same pattern on this not that long ago. I have burned myself on. Yes, it really does hurt when you burn yourself. I have literally had so many burns on me at one point, like all kinds. I totally get it. And just, you know, use a generous amount of glue, but don't try to do the whole thing at one time. And then wherever you end is where you want to start again. Like I actually was about to start at the wrong place. So wherever you end your last petal is where you want to start your next petal on your next fabric piece. And girl, I still glue myself every once in a while. I don't know. I think it's pretty much a 2nd degree or 3rd degree burn depending on the temp of your glue gun. I have burn cream handy whenever I work with really big, you know, really hot temp glue guns. Like I said, I'm using a low temp on this, and I'm just using my little Gorilla Glue glue gun with my minis, and it works great for a lot of the projects I do. I do use the low heat. All right, and then we're gonna bring it in a little bit more. So you can twist and turn however you like. And you might need to, you know, practice a little bit. And you can practice, you don't have to glue it, but you guys can practice on this just by putting it together, not even gluing it, to see, you know, hey, do I got the knack for this? It's not that hard. It's just twisting and turning. This one's kind of making like a rose type situation. All right, we are just about done with this one. I'm just gonna kind of pinch this in like this. I got it stuck to me. The end is probably your hardest piece, honestly, because you just kind of have to tuck it in. All right, so you see how that goes? How's that look, guys? See it? Woo. Okay. Now, for the middle piece, you can use another felt piece. Obviously, you would use a little smaller piece. You could use a bead, a charm, anything like that. I actually have buttons. And I think I'm actually going to use this orange button because it's going to bring out the brown really well. And I would just kind of keep the button on your finger, and you just need a little dab of it. And put it around where the holes are so the glue isn't coming through the holes. Because that kind of stuff might bother you. Oh no, you were 12? Ooh. Yes. Yes, that's why I always promote safety on here as best I can, because I don't want somebody to try this project with their kids and then, you know, sometimes we tend to forget about those things. And then your kids will end up in the emergency room and come visit me. That's not good. Okay, guys, so here is our first flower. You can see a little bit of glue in there, but not if you have it in the shadow. Ugh, I'm just taking off the strings. That bothers me. How do you guys like that? Okay? All right. So we're not going to do this part tonight, but I also wanted to encourage you, just because I didn't really do them, but what I would do is you can take a little bit of paint or a stain or something on like a baby wipe or a paper towel and stain your skewers any color you want. You could do green, you could do blue, you could do yellow, you could do brown, whatever matches your flower. So I do recommend making this match your flower. So what I did was I just kind of I put a little bit of glue, and actually I did it on the pokey side. So I put a little glue on my skewer, and I just kind of went in between my petals, and I just kind of stuck it in there and then held it in place. So we'll hold that in place for a minute. I'm so glad you love it. I love it too. I didn't even know how that one was going to turn out. I was like, it's not the greatest color, but they'll get the gist of it. All right, so there you go. All right, now my trick I also am doing is I'm making, obviously you guys, they need leaves. So instead of like cutting and putting together a leaf, and I think this is really cute because they are made out of fabric, I just took a little scrap of like green. I have this green and I have this green. I think I might use this green. We'll see how it looks. And I just cut a little strip out of it. Guys, I smell dinner and it smells so good. Breakfast for dinner. And what I did was I made it very, very easy. I just got a little scrap of, make sure it's long enough of that, fabric, like you can do any color. And I tied it. I tied it, guys. You could put a little bit of glue, but you don't have to. And there you go. There's our first flower. Isn't that so easy and so cute? Okay, so I'm gonna stick this one in the back because it's a little bit bigger. All right, and now we're gonna do this one. So, and then we'll probably make some announcements, and then I'll let you guys go. Because I know it's kind of late. It's already 9. I usually don't get on here this late. But like I said, we went to the grocery store, and I had something come up today that I had to take care of. Okay, so we are just making our cuts. I'm doing them a little bit more than a ½ inch. And this one's a little longer. Don't be afraid to go down. Like when you start cutting into your glue is when you want to stop. So don't be afraid, because see, don't be afraid, and then that happens. That's okay, we'll glue that one back together. We'll use that one too. I'll pretend that was on purpose. It looks like my blade just kind of slipped when I was doing that, but yeah, just make sure you're being careful not to do that. Okay, so we're just gonna do our little slits, and I already have my middle cut out. And this is like another vintagey, is that a word? Vintagey fabric. It's the same one that we had before, but it's blue. And then it's kind of like a teal color, so I'm gonna put pink with it. What do you guys think of that? You can use your imagination however you like. I think I'm actually liking this. I think I'm actually liking the way I did it twice. So we're gonna use this one on the inside because it's a little shorter. So we'll use this one on the outside. All right, so I'll put my finger savers on. I got enough glue. Yeah, I know. You know what? That's what happens when you're crafting live. Just anything goes and anything can happen. Sometimes it happens for a reason. It seems like that one happened for a reason. That's why these finger savers are so good to get, you guys. They're always there. I always find them. I don't really have trouble finding them. They're $1.25 at the at the Dollar Tree. And they come with 3, so you can put one on your thumb too. I was just using it earlier, and it's upstairs by my work desk. So, and like you guys, this can be addicting. Like you'll just be sitting here making flowers and not realize, oh my God, what time is it? It's very, very therapeutic. And you just kind of twist and bend them however you think you like them. I'm going to bring these petals up a bit. And fabric is so good to work with sometimes because it's like, it'll listen to you. It'll go where you want it to go. Becky's laughing. I probably said something to make you laugh. Oh, I probably did something to make you laugh, right? Yeah, probably. Becky, you gotta come over and try this with me one day. Becky's local. Remember, if you sprinkle my page, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in now. If you sprinkle my page, I do giveaways. I think Ginger got her gift already. I'm waiting to hear from Christina to see if she got hers. And I guess sometimes I'm going to go live a little bit later for our people. Yeah, you can always come over. Girl, I got plenty of fabrics, plenty of supplies. Maybe I'll do a craft night and go live for like my locals. All right, so my petal ended on this end, so I'm going to do it with the other one. So here, I'm going to go ahead and start and pinch it in. That's why I like using a hot glue, because it's very fast drying, and if you're an impatient person like myself, I'm so impatient sometimes when it comes to crafting. I just want to see it done. I want to see results right away. I'm just one of those people. This one is actually really cute, you guys. I know it's kind of boring to watch me, but that's okay. We'll figure out something. All right, so just down to the last few petals, and I'm just gonna kind of pinch it in, make sure that my petals are going the way I want them to. This little guy kind of tucked inside, so I had to pull him out. And it's super, you guys, it's super addicting, and they're really fast to make. Like, how long have I been on here? Just like 20 minutes? And we already made 2. And I'm just talking and doing it at the same time, so there's that. All right, and I really think this, and you could, like I said, we'll probably do another one like this with the patriotic fabrics and some vibrant colors. And then that's the whole thing, you guys. The sky's endless, and it goes with your decor. I'm just gonna go ahead and put my button inside, you guys. Sometimes it's hard to get that, to get it where the glue isn't coming through your little holes in your button. Ah, look at that. Cool, huh? So I decided to do flowers because it is Mother's Day. And I know a lot of people, we think of flowers when we think of Mother's Day. So I just thought it was a very fitting theme. I hope you guys like the theme. I'm not just going to be crafting flowers all month. I am going to be doing other things. We're going to be working on summer. We're going to be working on end of the school year teacher gifts. I have a couple ideas for those. I think I might do one of those tomorrow. I'll try to get on here a little bit earlier because those aren't going to be too difficult. But if you guys go to Five Below, or if you guys shop at Five Below, I will tell you, keep your mind open when you're shopping the areas of the home decor section. Because if there's something that you really love but it doesn't match your decor, you could always transform it. Tomorrow we're going to be doing something with something from Five Below. I think I already kind of thought that process out. That way you guys can get some of your teacher gifts in if you have kids that have teachers. All right, so there is our flower. I'm not liking the way this petal is sitting, but I'm going to show you how to fix that. You're going to put a little tiny drop of glue and just kind of pin it back so it stays in place. I kind of attached it on there, and then we're going to take our piece of scrap and we're going to tie a little, you can take those off to tie them, guys. You're going to tie a little, just a little knot. You can do a double knot. Just make sure you make your fabric piece long enough. And that's the trick, guys. The longer the piece of fabric, the more layers you're gonna get. All right, pull it to the top, and there you go. There's our other one. So for this, just to kind of put this together for you guys tonight real quick, I did put a styrofoam piece inside. I used a styrofoam ball, and I got some of this crepe paper. This was actually leftover from Easter, really cheap. You guys can probably still find some in the stores. The stores really overdid it for Easter. Like, I don't think they realized how many people weren't buying Easter things this year. And basically, I just kind of put them in here, and there they go. And you can make a bunch of these. You can give them out individually to mothers and grandmothers, your friends at church that are mothers. I've actually had people come buy some of the crafts that I've made for you. I've had them at my booth. One of them is actually behind me here. I'll show you. I actually made this little, I wasn't doing lives when we did this, but I actually made this like little Cupid angel, and I actually had somebody come by my booth and buy it for their mom that was in a nursing home. So this is something that even the nursing home people could probably do, the ones that can do the craft, but it's something very small, something handmade. It'll look very cute on like the little nightstand, and it's something that you can make, you know, if you know somebody in a nursing home. So these are like for anybody, you guys. I think anybody would appreciate this. The only other thing I would add, if you're going to give it as a gift, make sure you put a little tag on it too and who it's from. You could also put individual tags like made by, that way when they're, you know, when it's sitting there, they're looking at it, they know who made it. Because a lot of times if you have so many grandchildren, they don't even know who made what after so long. So always put your name, and usually the date would be cute, because that way they know, you know, how old the child was or whatever, if it was the child that helped. But yeah, there's so many ideas that we can do with these, you guys. I hope you really like this, and I hope you're gonna try it. Remember to sprinkle if you know anybody in your family that might like all of this stuff that we do. They can go back and watch all of my videos, all of the you know, previous ones that we did. We are going to be doing flowers throughout the rest of the month, and we'll also be doing some other stuff to focus on some of our grads, our dads, and our teacher gifts. And summer, definitely summer's coming, and our Memorial Day. So don't forget about those. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming up. Make sure you're following, not just liking, but make sure you're following and you're sprinkling, so you can also get a prize. I have one prize that I think I'll show you guys later on in the week that I'm going to be giving away next for our next person. But just make sure when you are sprinkling, you let me know so I can put you in for that, it's not really a contest, you guys. But if you decide to make these, go ahead and comment. I would love to see your pictures. Send them to me. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and show you on the page as well and give you the credit. But I'm dying to see what you guys can come up with as far as color scheme. That's it for tonight, guys. I will see you tomorrow with another craft. And don't forget, keep your eyes open for things that you see. Look at Five Below next time you're in there, because that's what we're going to be using some things from there. And remember, I know it's backwards for right now, but you're welcome, Becky. Believe that you can do it, because you can. All right, good night, you guys. Bye.